Good morning. So on Tuesday, my girlfriend and I went to a concert in Pittsburgh, and we went to go see her favorite band of all time. So on the way back, she explained to me that this band had the highest selling album of the 20th century. And I was like, I doubt it. Like, they're really good, and a lot of people know who they are, but the best selling album of the century? And she said, yes. So we went to go see the remnants of the Eagles on Tuesday. Now, it was a really good concert, and I bought the tickets as a surprise, and she was really excited. But looking back, I would have to say these are some of the factors that the Eagles and their management utilized to create the album that they did. So the original members of the band were able to mesh very well whenever they wanted to vocalize and harmonize. Their own unique sound and distinct vocals, but when they came together, that's where the magic happened. And next we have criticize. So the Eagles is known for being a little feisty amongst each others, and that showed. People picked up on it. They criticized as well as they could to make the band better, and sometimes that led to getting rid of some people. So the next step was empathize. The 70s was a great time to write relatable music. There was a lot of emotions going on. I can't speak for any of them. I don't really know what was happening, but I do know that they were able to capture the feelings of probably a lot of generations that were going on. The emotions and feelings of a generation or two, you can probably monetize on that. So the Eagles were doing their best at writing music that people also wanted to buy, not just listen to. And I feel like there's a small difference between monetize and capitalize. Capitalize is just finally reel in the money that is due to you. So this album was written in between two other albums that they were very accomplished within these 4 years and had many hit songs, and they were spending a lot of time recording the Hotel California album, where management gave up and was like, okay, we're going to release the greatest hits until you guys get your stuff together. Okay, so the current members had not had standalone success to this point. So there was no thought of the band, going in separate ways yet or anything. They realized that they were better together, and that's what really drew people towards them. So bands were becoming a thing. There was AC/DC, Skinner, just bands that were generally men, and Don Henley and Glenn Frey had mentioned that when they were younger, they both were influenced by the Beatles. All right, next we have criticize. Everyone hears of constructive criticism, and it's beneficial. It's healthy. It keeps the flow going. It keeps regression going. And Don Henley never had a major falling out, and anytime they were back and forth with each other, it was usually in a beneficial way. Other times there was not healthy times when Glenn Frey would go against Don Felder or Randy Meisner. Eventually, these confrontations lead to them leaving the band. So next is empathize. So they write music that is relatable. So take it easy. Everybody was stressed in the 70s here and there about a couple things, and different things to different people. They were very open for interpretation. Can it speak to more than one group? I would like to think so. I mean, mainly they were speaking to a younger generation, but as they progressed, I think they were they kept that same generation, but were able to add older groups of people and younger groups of people depending on the song. Um, sure, some were definitely geared towards younger people with, long guitar solos. And so once they got everybody on their time, they were all able to monetize. So write music people want to buy. I just spoke about the guitar solo, and Freebird was out there. Bohemian Rhapsody was also a long song. Lion Eyes was a little over 6 minutes long, and this was kind of a new thing starting to happen. Just a generation before, Merle Haggard wrote Mama Tried, and that was about 2 minutes and 30 seconds long, but was still able to have a massive impact. And here are newer generations of musicians thinking that, a longer song can have just as much impact and people won't get bored or disgusted or tired of hearing it if there's a lot of emotion and even a little bit of diversity that happens within the song. Next, they can push the boundaries a little bit. It keeps people interested. It keeps their name relevant. They write songs that have questionable meanings, or they wrote good songs while they were on drugs, or just found different ways to keep progressing and not necessarily within like the normal scope of what was accepted at the time. Lastly, we have capitalize. So the Eagles at this point, after a short 4 years, have attained staying power, and their greatest hits album was released 10 months before the Hotel California album even come out. So what I think was one of the key factors was staying relevant. So after the band, inevitably was going to break up, just there was a lot of tension. They needed a little bit of a separation. A couple went on to, pretty decent solo careers. I'm sure whenever they would go and perform a solo acts, they would be introduced as former Eagles frontman, former Eagles guitarist, former Eagles drummer. You know, they probably tried to escape their past, but realized that that was probably impossible, and that kind of kept, kind of kept the band current. One of the last things that you can do to capitalize, and I think kind of the most important, is to get the band back together. So after the 14-year hiatus, wounds were mended. Uh, make another run at a music career, and I think that's what led to the 29 million album, which is the current number, I believe. The album has had an impact on society, so that deemed it noteworthy to be added to the Library of Congress last year. The number will keep growing because I feel like new generations will, the music wasn't specifically tied to actions in the 70s with specific lyrics, but everybody can, take those lyrics and put them in 2017, 2018, and they can still be current and stir emotion and, move people, myself being one of them. So one of the hardest things that they'll have to do is, as they go forward, they have to go without Glenn Frey, who died in 2016. It's kind of a tough role to fill, but at the concert that my girlfriend and I went to, Vince Gill was doing a lot of the vocals that were done by Glenn Frey. And I had just figured out a couple days before that that's kind of how it was going to be. I went online, looked at the tickets I bought, and it had a picture of, a night with the Eagles. I was like, that guy looks like Vince Gill. So I looked it up real fast, and he had been signed on to start singing with the Eagles, and that is what has let them be able to tour again. So Just because a founding member died and a lead vocalist died does not mean that their music had to die with them. And the other thing that they did was they brought Glenn Fry's son with them to play. And from what my girlfriend told me and showed me, he looks eerily like Glenn Fry did in the 70s and 80s. And I'm sure that throws a lot of nostalgia back to the older fans, but younger fans who may not even understand that, who may have just started listening in the last 2 years, you know, might be like, oh, there's a young person in that band. Uh, that's just a quick way to jump into a new generation, is having a younger face blended in with the uh, gray hair and goatees and flannel shirts that aging acts kind of run into. But they're doing pretty well to stay current. I think they'll continue to increase sales, but I look at these 5 factors that I just covered, and I'm sure there's a lot more behind the scenes, but a short version could show that this was part of their recipe for success, and they had a lot of success. They kept the success going, with their solo careers, and they were able to come back not once or twice, but I think this is like the third reiteration of a touring schedule, and they were able to do so without, even their lead members again. So, budding, music manager, I would look for a couple of qualities in a band that, I'd be able to run down this list and be like, all right, I can do this, we can do this. You guys can criticize yourselves, really. You take care of those fundamentals on your own. You're down to earth. You understand what the people want to hear. And the more important part is people want to pay for it. And if they do that, I make money, you make money. And it's a healthy relationship that led to one of the greatest selling albums of all time.